Hey everyone, welcome back to theclinicaltrialsguru.com. Just doing a quick video today. This can apply to any industry. I've got the idea from my real estate industry gurus that I follow online. And this one is yourfirstdayinrealestate.com. But this video is going to be going on theclinicaltrialsguru.com as well as my business blog dancefair.com because it's that important. I think it transcends every industry. As you know, or maybe you don't know, but the internet, social media, YouTube, where you're most likely watching this video, because that's where I'm hosting it. This is the future of marketing for any business. I don't care what you do. I happen to do clinical trials. I happen to get started in real estate pretty soon. I'm going to be using these channels. So YouTube, Twitter, Facebook, podcasting, all that stuff is excellent stuff for you as a brand to start using. Hopefully you know that. If you don't, get with the program. It's 2013. What's going on? But anyways, there's something here. There's opportunities for local businesses to find local customers because, as you know, one of the benefits of using social media is that a brand can find customers. You can reach anyone in the world with this. Like my Clinical Trials Guru brand is a worldwide brand. People who are interested in clinical research can find me anywhere in the world. They go to theclinicaltrialsguru.com. That's great. That's really great. But what if you're a local business and you're a local business in Denver, Colorado? And you could care less about people watching your stuff or listening to your podcast or interacting with you on Twitter from England. You could care less. That can't be a customer of yours if you're a local business in Denver, Colorado. What if you're a clinical research company in Denver, Colorado, and that's your market? You don't have any intentions of expanding. You're going to stay in Colorado and do nothing but clinical research there. Well, how do you reach that local audience? I have an idea, and it's not mine. I actually got it from this guy, Your First Day in Real Estate, James Festini. I'm going to hopefully interview him very soon, so big shout out to him. I think he's a genius. I've been following him for my real estate stuff. I plan to start my real estate business soon as a realtor and eventually as a broker. But anyways, he came up with this great idea of podcasting at a hyper local level. So again, podcasting is going to be the future. Cars are building Stitcher apps into the dashboards of their new cars. I know Ford's doing this, BMW's doing this, Tesla's doing this. If you don't know what Stitcher is, it's kind of like iTunes, where you can listen to podcasts on demand and you can have like your favorite station and you can just listen to it. You have a captive audience. If you have a podcast and they have this app in their car or on their phone, it's on every smartphone, iPads, whatever it is. You can even listen to it online. You have a captive audience when that person's driving, or let's say that person's running on the treadmill at the gym. You have his or her attention in their earbuds, wherever they may be. It's another form of marketing. It might be better than YouTube in the future because it's more passive. You just kind of put it in there, or if you're in the car, you just put it on and you drive, but you still have someone talking to you in your ears. And that's why this video, which I will put on YouTube, I'm going to put on my podcast as well, which I have a Stitcher app. I have an iTunes thing as well, although on Stitcher it's audio only. And that's why I started a audio only podcast. But anyways, so far, all my content is for a global audience. So what I learned from James Festini at yourfirstdayinrealestate.com is to have a local podcast specializing in just local things. For instance, he lives in a community in California called Lake Elsinore. So he bought LakeElsinoreRadio.com, and every week he does like a 20 to 30 minute podcast on just things related to Lake Elsinore. He's got the news in Lake Elsinore. He's got different things about billboards going up. He's got things about new happenings in Lake Elsinore, Little League scores. He really has got this thing nailed. And I think that's the future for targeting a very local, specific local audience. This applies to clinical researchers as well, not just realtors, although I'm going to be using this in real estate. Believe me, I already bought BeverlyHillsRadio.com. I already bought LaJollaRadio.com, which are two very prestigious communities in this area, so I'm hoping to get listings there. I also bought BuenaParkRadio.com because that is close to where I live, so I'm going to start experimenting with that. But it can apply very much so to clinical research companies that are just focusing on recruiting people in their area. So back to my example of a Denver, Colorado-based research clinic. If you own DenverRadio.com, or even more specific, let's say that one's not available, but if you own like AuroraRadio.com, or I don't know any other communities in Denver, but pick a suburb there where your clinic's located and buy that domain, YourCityRadio.com, and have a podcast on Stitcher where you just talk about simple things, what's going on in the community. You can actually even read the newspapers on the podcast. Just pool the content from different sources, like different newspapers in the area, and make it specific for your audience. That way, you're doing them a favor. They don't have to read the newspapers. They can just tune in to your podcast every week and listen. But you're building a trust with this audience. You're building some kind of a bond. You're giving them value. And at the end of the program, or maybe at the beginning, you can say this is sponsored by such and such research clinic, or so-and-so realtor, for those of you who are realtors, or whatever it is, whatever kind of business you're in. But for the research clinics, this podcast is sponsored by Research Clinic of Denver. And, these are the studies we're recruiting for right now. Give us a call. That, if you can build a large enough audience, which I think you can, because people would want to listen to very local, targeted things in their area, and podcasting is only growing. I mean, I know grandmas and grandpas who are listening to podcasts now. You have a captive audience, and it's another way for your brand to target local customers, local study participants, local sellers or buyers of property in your area, and get them to become your customers because you're providing them a valuable service. Let me know if you're gonna try this out. I'm gonna try this in real estate, like I said. I will eventually probably try it for clinical trials as well. And that's the beauty of it. It can apply to anything. You can even have sponsors for your podcast. So you can pay, it will essentially pay for itself if you have a local business sponsor your show. There's so many ways you can go with this. I'd love to hear your thoughts on this. And go ahead and steal my idea. I mean, I've been telling everyone that I know who's a business owner to do this. And I know so many people are just not going to do it because they're worried about what they're going to say. And don't worry about that. I mean, that's something that you can figure out yourself, or you can hire people to run the podcast, whatever it may be. But all I know is I'm doing this for my real estate business and my clinical research business at some point. And whether it's myself hosting the show or whether I hire some people, doesn't matter. The concept is you're getting attention of local customers now. Because it's pretty easy to attract the attention of a global audience with YouTube and podcasts just as well. But now if you want to get local with it and just get your local customers, because that's where the future of this whole thing is, it's YourLocalTownRadio.com. I think it's a phenomenal way, a genius way to attract customers. And check out James Festini. I mean, I give him a shout out, and I hope to interview him very soon on this topic. For realtors, but it also applies to clinical research, it applies to barbers, it applies to whatever it is you may be. Local, the best way to attract local customers, I think, right now, probably for the next 5 to 10 years. Let's see how it goes, and good luck with that. This is Dan Sfera from theclinicaltrialsguru.com as well as dansfera.com. Take care.